Approach to the innermost. Oh my god, I can't speak. Okay, hello, welcome back. I'm wearing glasses while wearing glasses, so this sucks. But okay, welcome back to my book review channel. book review channel. It's been a while. Yeah, I was supposed to release my book review on Circe by Madeline Miller like 3 months ago, but I accidentally deleted that 25-minute book review, so now we're left with nothing. But today I have for you guys Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I'm also doing this review for my class, so hey class, if you're watching this, please skip to this. But if you want to know my further opinion, you can watch further on. Just don't stalk me because this is my book review. Did you see that? My house is haunted. Anyways, yeah, let's get started. Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I want to say that this book is bad. It's
so bad, I want to give you a 0, but that's not possible. So I give you a 1.
So don't read it unless you want your eyes to bleed and you yourself become a child of blood and bone. I am going to skip most of the criticism until the very end. If you want to know my opinion, feel free to watch the entire video. So anyways, let's psychoanalyze the author and see what made her feel inclined to write this not so amazing book. Yeah. Tomi Adeyemi is a Nigerian-American author and creative director who wrote the Children of Blood and Bone duology. Well, that explains it because this book is written for a screenplay, not a novel. For example, if you look at Leigh Bardugo's works, the difference is there. Being that Tomi Adeyemi went to Harvard while Leigh Bardugo went to Yale, this doesn't really give Adeyemi an excuse on why the book is so bad, especially because they both majored in English literature. I mean, I guess everyone has their different writing style, but I don't know, she sucks. Anyways, maybe Adeyemi's id wants to create a film of her own, but knowing that it costs a crap ton of money, she decided to write a book instead because, you know, some readers don't know how to read. They just like fangirl over everything. The shaman and I. We can see that the story is narrated in first person whilst changing different perspectives, but this isn't exactly the issue if done correctly. Leigh Bardugo does the same in her Six of Crows duology, only that her chapters are more than 3 freaking pages, unlike somebody. Anyways, if you read scripts or screenplays, you would understand that Adeyemi's works do not become subjective to written works meant to be mentally read, but meant to be acted out. Like, if you look at the book, the characters are always making noises in their dialogues like, ha! Ah! Ah! Like, please stop. This ain't no movie. Each chapter is equivalent to 1 movie scene. The visual text would be, which is very strange to read. From the overused tropes in this book, I realized that Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi is a 21st century badly portrayed book in what is supposed to give audiences from the aspects of attempting to use tropes, questionable gender-lens ideas, and confusing morally gray concepts. Let's take a look at what her bad book is all about. Children of Blood and Bone follows a girl by the name of Zélie Adebola who lives in Orisha, a magical world once ruled by gods who bestowed humans supernatural natural gifts. The ones who did not receive these powers in the end felt threatened and created a genocide, which led to a monarchy ruled by those who were of lighter skin. Because of this, the gods, as they always do, crawled back into their shell. Zélie, still grieving her mother's death after 11 years, reminds me of Katara.
Since Mom died, I've been doing all the work around camp.
They killed my mother.
I went through the same thing when I lost my mom.
My mother gave it to me. I lost my mother in a Fire Nation raid.
Mom! The Fire Nation took my mother away from me.
When Mom was a girl, a mom realized so much.
Lives with her dad and brother who have no personality whatsoever. And trains with an old woman who we see in only less than 50 pages. Although you entirely forget about the old woman and Zélie's training, it is very, very important to note that Zélie carries around a staff. Like, why give her a staff? She doesn't use it. Later on, they all start to find a way to return magic to the entire world while being hunted by the prince who... Man, I don't even know. Anyways, Zaylee's call to adventure arrives when she goes into the capital with her brother Zane to sell fish in order to pay the outrageous taxes that the monarchy is forcing on them due to Zaylee's magic. The runaway princess bumps into them, and like the main characters that they are, they shove their heads up so far into other people's business and end up getting their entire village burnt to the ground. Don't help strangers, y'all. Zaylee rages against the Princess Amari and then rages against her brother, who for no reason at all falls in love with the princess. Beforehand, Zaylee's ordinary world was training to fight with Mama Agba, an old lady, while being constantly harassed by the king's men. This was preparation for a revolution, but you literally forget that she even had training at all because the action scenes are non-existent. When their village gets burned to the ground, they ultimately make the decision to bring magic back with no clear clues how. The refusal happens when Zaylee and Amari refuse to go save the world because they are scared. Zaylee, her brother Zane, the Princess Amari meet their mentor after reaching the top of a random mountain that I don't remember the name of. The mentor is an old man with spirit magic. They cross the threshold with the help of the old man after he sacrifices himself. Live whatever you do. Survive. They get a wake-up call and a clear mission with steps on how to actually save magic. The tests of allies and enemies come along when they figure out their own situation. After they fight together and connect, they at no point certain or even explained in the book become friends. Anand comes in and fall in love within 20 hours after talking to each other. He ends up betraying them, yada yada yada, enemies to lovers, and another bad written test of allies within the story. Approach to the innermost cave could be identified as when the group try to retrieve the Sunstone and almost end up dying when they make contact with 30 ships. The ordeal happens when Anand attacks them once again. The reward is winning a magical power, enhancing Sunstone, and the road back allows them to meet a group of teenagers who have Orisha powers. But they all end up dying because the king's men arrive due to the fact that the stupid kids don't know how to do things on the down low. Even so, Zaylee gains more allies to help her fight against the king, and now against Prince Anand as well. This is a resurrection. The return with the elixir doesn't entirely happen because, surprise, there is another 500-page terrible book that will continue this terrible story. But yeah, Zaylee returns magic, but since there's a second book, I would assume that all isn't well. The overall writing style of this book can be categorized as bad. The chosen one trope gives me that cringe vibe that I get from watching the Harry Potter scene.
Once I make my move, then you're free to check the king. No! Run, no! What is it? He's going to sacrifice himself. It's you that has to go on. I know it. Not me. Not Hermione. Harry Potter.
Even with this complete asswipe of a trope, I didn't think that it could be topped by the terrible enemies to lovers trope. The morally gray trope comes in when we see that Anand is traumatized and has daddy issues, so he wants to feel validated, and that is why he is seeking to destroy magic, even though he has magic. The morally gray villain fits into postmodernism and 21st century writing because it allows readers to question and think about people differently, but it's not done well. Overall, from what I have read, Anand is seen going through his own identity crisis when he continues to say, duty before self, and kill her, kill magic.
Kill her, kill magic.
What are you doing?
Looking for a fuck to give. I wait for a fuck to fall in my hand so I can give it to you.
Loki doesn't help. The only thing that aids this fact is that Zaylee is able to change his way of thinking for 3 hours before they all get attacked and killed. The only other thing I can think of is the fact that the king's dad was killed by people who had magic, which is why the king is killing people who have magic. What a great way to deal with trauma for human males, am I right? Aren't they so emotional? Right? 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 There's also this one pick-me girl scene where
Guys, stop fighting, please. Jason, look. This isn't you, okay? This isn't the you that we all know and love, Jason. You're better than this.
within the book, it is seen that most of the interactions between Zaylee and Princess Amari are passive-aggressive, meaning that they necessarily do not get along. This backs the idea that women hate each other. When they do get along, they end up talking about Anan and Zane, which they also have no friendship chemistry at all. There are few interactions where they get along. The only other girl I remember her talking to is, darn it, I forgot her name! Izu, a 13-year-old with healing powers. When she interacts with her, it's so cringe. Literally, who edited this book? Cause like, not to mention the fact that Zu literally dies right after she is introduced, so it's just Amari and Zaylee again, whose relationship is terribly illustrated. Throughout the book, we know that Amari can fight, but she never initiates to. It's very stereotypical. They are healers and gentle people. Her whole character is very unsteady. In a sense of governmental idea, Zaylee is a communist because she is trying to get magic back for everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone.
Cause tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
Zaylee wants everyone to have magic, even if they don't have the mindset to deal with these or reach the powers in a mature way. She didn't really think this through, but yeah. Obviously, neither did the author. But being that the book does include metaphysical aspects from the idea that gods do exist, sociological functions that everyone has their own stories and that killing is bad, I would say that overall the book does do a decent job touching on these subjects, but the rest of the ideas that involve the deconstruction of the human minds using morally gray styles of writing is something that needs work. It doesn't make the reader rethink about morals or question things. It just made me throw the book across the room.
What the
Also with the fact that the women are barely ever seen talking to each other. So, summary. Don't read this book. And don't write a book if you are a creative director. Go make a movie instead. Bye, bye, bye.
Water. Water. Water.
Okay, for those who stayed, this is my criticism of the book. It's also been like an hour because I realized I actually forgot to put down notes. So let me go grab the book real quick so you can actually see what it looks like. This is the book. It's literally 500 pages. I only have 4 annotations because it was a really fast read for 500 pages. I just took a long time because I really hated the book. So this is thumbnail. This is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. So overall, I rate this book a 1.5 out of 5 star. Everything is just written badly, so that is why there's a lot of criticism, but also why there is no criticism. I don't even know what's going on. It is so boring. The author gives us nothing but everything at the same time, and it's so frustrating to read. The pacing also goes by really fast, along with the overall emotions. Emotions and feelings are explained in 2 sentences, and that is it. We don't feel a connection to the characters who died as well. It's not meant to be read, it's meant to be visually seen. This is why there are aspects that I think are lacking. Also, some of the characters are pretty similar in how they speak, so it's kind of strange, especially with Zaylee and her brother characters. Zaylee Adebola. In the beginning, she keeps saying that she is ready to fight, but we never ever see her fight. She only uses powers. Maybe that's because like she didn't know how to use her powers then. In the beginning, it was so focused on like her wanting to get like physical and like showing her abilities, right? But it's never shown in the book. It has non-existent action scenes. I have never read a scene where they actually fought. Honestly, I barely know anything about Zaylee, and she's the main character. Also, why the fuck does she tease the prince and his dreamscape like they're flirting? Like, the author is forcing it, and it makes me cringe. She keeps calling him, like, Little Prince. Girl, what? You don't know him. I don't know. The author, if you read it, I think you will understand that the author is really, really forcing it. Like, sometimes she has like an inconsistent characterization. But I do like how she realizes her constant fear of death and loss. And I like how she's a main character who actually gets angry and frustrated. Zayn Adebola. You can tell that he falls in love with the princess 3 seconds after they meet. Like, you don't even have to guess. It's not even like, oh my god, I know where this is going. This is like, their love is so non-existent. I also don't really know anything about Zayn, even though, or it was Zayn, I don't fucking know. Even though I spent my time reading he's low-key the only one who actually shows emotion and has a little bit of personality. Everyone else is void of that. Princess Amaria Olubori, she's useless. So she states quite a few times that she can fight, but she never ever fights. You don't see her fight until the end. But yeah, I feel like she's just trying to die. About her fighting, the scene where she kills her dad is the only scene where we see her fight. Like, it's supposed to be like a character development, but it literally happens so fast. I don't know, you feel no emotions, so it's not like a wow factor. Prince Inan Olubiri, I think he's kind of annoying. He keeps repeating the same phrases to himself, and it just gets really annoying. It's not like, oh my god, he's getting brainwashed. It's just like, this is not even like a rhythmic, repeatable phrase. It's just annoying. It's just ugly. It's cringe. His character is also kind of inconsistent. Like, you can't define him in a personality. All of the characters seem to have the same personality. I'm sorry. He has a very strange and very quick character development. Like, he starts off hating magic, but then right after he talks to Zaylee for an hour, he decides that like, oh, magic isn't all that bad, even though I've been brainwashed my whole life. Now you've changed my mind after being with you for 1 hour. Shut up. No. Like, what? His entire mindset just changed. His entire mindset just changed. His entire mindset just changed. 36 hours after that, he starts trying to kill Zaylee again. Like, what? This was not a wow factor in the book. Like, his character development and then his change back as a betrayal was not a wow factor. Like, what made you think, what, ma'am, what made you sit down for like hours on end and write a 500-page book? What made you reread this and think that it was good? Ma'am, no. No, nor Cleor. Also, he's just a bad liar, so that kind of sucks. So the people who I don't think are necessary at all are Lacan, Kaya, who was like having an affair with his dad. I also don't think his mom is important. Also, like Zoo and just like the other freaking younger teenagers that they met are just not important. Like, they die in 2 chapters, so why? What made you feel that it was necessary? You could have saved so much time. You could have saved so much of my time if you just like shortened it down. Moving on to the relationships. My criticism between Zayn and Zaylee. So they're supposed to be the siblings that don't get along, that they kind of hate each other. But that disappeared really fast. Like, you never see it again. They argue one time and that's it. That's it. It's very implied in the beginning that they never get along. And when they fight, it's not serious. It's just like, it's very devoid of emotions. The entire book is devoid of emotions, so I can't even tell. Yeah, we literally know nothing else about the relationship. Zayn and Amaria. I hate the love at first sight trope because there's no logic or understanding. Like, how can you fall in love with someone after like looking at their face? How does that work? Honestly, that really, I don't get that. Their future relationship was very predictable and stereotypical that it made me mad, and I got even more mad when it was written badly. You could have at least written it well if it was going to be this stereotypical. Amari and Zayn flirting is just so bad. Like, them at the lake was so cringe. I don't even know how to explain it. It's a whole movie scene that the author tried to put onto readable paper, but because she did that, but not with a screenplay, it's just bad. So you know how screenplays and like acting, it's just like a bunch of dialogues with like little like inserts of how you're supposed to say the line and how you're supposed to act and what you do? That's the entire book. There are no paragraphs that show emotion. So Amari and Inan, we know nothing about their relationship. They're siblings, right? I would have shipped them if Inan was her fiance from a different kingdom and he was trying to win her dad over for the throne. Their relationship has the most romance, even though they're siblings? Okay, low-key, I think this is the same for Zayn and Zaylee too. There is more logic in their relationship than than their love interest. They're both are traumatized over Anan hurting Amari, but it's so cringe. They are sad over it, but that's not really the right emotion. Sadness, I don't think is the right emotion. It would be very complicated feelings, you know? Anan and Zaylee, literally what is up with the love at first sight trope? I'm sorry, I hate it so bad. And then like there's like an enemies to lovers trope within it too, but it's done so badly. Like, how did Anan go from like a bloodthirsty monster to a gentleman like 3 minutes later? Like, I'm not freaking kidding, bro. Like, it happened in 3 minutes. I'm not kidding. They were at each other's necks, and then like 3 minutes later he was like, Zaylee, no, you're better than this. We can get through this together. Like, where did this come from? So they become allies in 3 minutes without any signs of distrust or anger or, you know, signs of like wanting to kill each other. Falls in love with her after 3 hours of being together. And then they kiss like 10 hours after talking to each other. And he calls her the love of his life after like 15 hours. Talking about haste in Romeo and Juliet. Like, no, like look at this. Y'all looking at the wrong book about haste. Oh my god, it's enemies to lover, but there's also betrayal. It's done so badly. Like, where's the angst? Where's the chemistry? Where is the banter? Their relationship is non-existent and so forced. The content. I just want to say that the book is badly written in the fact that it's written in first person, but you read it like the person has written it into a journal. And now you're reading their journal from their own experiences. You know what I mean? Like the way how they explain the vocabulary and the details sound like the person has thought over it and has written it down for you to read. Also, the writing and the timing is very, very rushed. Each chapter is like 3 pages long. I'm not kidding. Each chapter is like one singular scene in a movie. It's just like, you could have done that in a better way. Like, you don't have to switch back and forth. Some of the scenes are not necessary. Because the book is so rushed, it feels like their journeys are back to back. Rushing the story gets rid of connection of the characters to the readers, and it also makes it worse when there are so many missions and big events instead of small ones. Consistent encounters with Rowan for chemistry and banter. Rowan is the only one with like actual personality. I think that's just because the whole book is so void of mood and so emotionless. Also, why was Mama Agba and everyone so consistent about Zaylee being the chosen one to free magic? Like, I still don't know. Is it like she's the only one on Earth left with magic? Because that's obviously not true. They're like, oh yeah, your mother was the strongest magical person who could like control souls. That's literally so lame. Like, why can't you find someone who like, I don't know, like controls the sun? One of the guys literally could do fire. There are like people who like can control the tide, but like she can control dead people, and that's so cool. It's really not. That's kind of lame. I feel like I'm watching like an animated child movie where there were just like spirits flying everywhere. Like it reminds me of The Shaman and I, because both of them are so bad and they're like, oh, spirits are flying, they're flying. The plot. Honestly, what was the plot again? There is so much that the author uses to try to enhance the plot, but most of it doesn't help. Khan died after 2 minutes, Zhu died after 3 hours, and they literally got the Sunstone without the announcer even like being an asshole about them winning, because no one has ever won that magical Sunstone before. I wanted there to be like a little like I want to feel anger. The book is so emotionless. Getting rid of Lacan and Zhu, the whole thing, as I stated before, would have saved 170 pages, I think. And substituting some of the boring scenes with Rowan instead of Anan would have added more mood and emotions. So that's my overall thoughts. The writing style was very not my style of writing. It was very much screenplay-like. It was literally like The Shaman and I. Instead of written by a Hmong American author, it's written by a Nigerian American author. That's kind of it. So take it as you see it. I'm not saying you shouldn't read the book. You might be disappointed. I'm also very disappointed in the people who told me that this book was good. What are you reading? I want to know, because what? My next book review, I believe, is going to be The Cruel Prince. I already started reading it. I don't want to give spoilers to how I feel. But yeah, see you guys later. Bye!